Welcome to Crappens. Don't wait a week for a new video. Join our Patreon at the Crappens On Demand level for instant recap access. Link in description. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast for all that crap we usually love to talk about on Bravo. Today, Netflix though. Okay, changing it up today.
Not even
I'm
Netflix.
Ronnie.
Not even Netflix.
Oh, Max. You're correct. We should have a Max show because we also have the House of the Dragon stuff. So you know what? We're into you, Max. We're watching you, Max. I almost said I'm Ben. I'm Ronnie. That's Ben over there. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Welcome home to your happy place. Your show. Welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome home to your happy place. Also, your show. I hope you had a great birthday weekend.
I sure did. What great times being born. Am I right? Gosh.
It's nice.
Yeah, I suppose. Last year of my 40s, everybody. Here we go. Buckle in. So,
you can do
it. Buckle in to go very slowly because that's how I plan on doing everything. I'm just like, I'm older now and I'm sleeping a lot more. I'm like, but I'm so older. You know, like that little tick on the calendar made a huge difference and I'm just sleeping my face off and I love it. So the point is, Chimp crazy. Okay. So Bravo's in a slump. I don't know if it's because of the Olympics. I don't know if it's because of, I don't know why, but Bravo was like, you know what? We're going to air 97 shows at one time. And then we're not going to air shit for 3 months. Like it's the fucking pandemic all over again. So they've decided to do that to us. So we've come up with other things to recap and we've asked you guys what you want. We are going to try this Mormon show coming up called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives about #Mom Talk. And so if you want to hear our trailer trash, which is our preview of the trailer, our trashing of the trailer, go check that out on our Patreon. That's also where you find videos for all our recaps, including this one. And today we decided, let's try this Chimp Crazy show because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, it's from the creators of Tiger King, which, you know, Tiger King was such a thing. And
we covered that as well.
We recapped that on Patreon, and we had a really fun time with that. That was such a wild, wacky saga full of colorful characters, going in strange, unexpected places. And so when we saw, you know what, there's another documentary about, you know, someone with an unhealthy relationship with animals that they should not be keeping in captivity. We thought, like, hey, this could also be interesting because I think the correlation is a lot of times the people who own animals beyond like dogs and cats and normal kind of pets, exotic animals, they're fucking crazy and they lead to good documentaries. So we thought, hey, why not? And plus wigs.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't have normally watched this. I don't think. I saw the previews. I didn't know it was from the Tiger King people, but I just looked at it and was like, meh, you know, I don't know. Chimp crazy. Like, I don't need that. I don't know. It just looked like, I don't know who it's supposed to appeal to, but I don't really ever see a chimp on the cover and think, wow, I need to see that. I wonder what those crazy chimps are doing. Because every movie that had chimps is stupid. I mean, can we just all agree on that?
They're all terrible. I have never enjoyed chimps in my entertainment. Like I have always hated when chimps show up dressed as something. I've always hated chimps on greeting cards. I just don't find chimps appealing whatsoever. I don't think that they're cute. Maybe when they're babies, they're sort of cute, but like I'm not someone who's ever been drawn to chimps, and especially when there were like 2 different horrific news stories about chimps that came out, one of which is covered in episode 2 of this show. But there was another one with a guy who went to visit his old chimp that he used to own, and that chimp just like tore off his face and his dick and everything. And it was, I think an arm was pulled out. It was just like horrifying. Ever since that, I was like, no, I don't fuck with chimps. Like they're strong, crazy animals.
Well, listen, part of me feels like that's unfair. You know, part of me feels like telling you that's unfair because that's 2 chimps out of how many chimps, and it's not fair to judge all chimps based on a couple of chimps. But then, you know what? I won't date anybody, and it's because I watch the news and no other humans. So I guess I judge all of humanity based on a few bad apples as well. Chances, but I'm right though. I feel like I'm right and you're wrong. But here's why.
I judge. I don't judge chimps. I judge the people who think that they can just cuddle up with a chimp like it's a kitty cat or a dog, and it's like, no, that's an animal from the jungle. That's what I judge.
Here's where I think you're wrong. I love chimps and I think they're so fucking cute. Here's the thing. I just think they're misused in movies. Well, first of all, now we know it's like bad to use them. You can't use them. So obviously we're against it because it's bad. It's mean to chimps. But I just feel like they never really have great roles for chimps. And
Mm.
we see a role that Tonka plays. He's a chimp in this movie. We see a role that Tonka plays, which was Babe Pig in the City. And Tonka, I have to say, that is some Oscar-winning work. It was
I was say that's the only acceptable moment. Only
that was
acceptable monkey
fantastic.
performance.
They made Tonka a talking lady chimp who was popping bubble gum. I mean, just the bubble gum work alone, I thought was really good. It was like Meryl Streep type work. Loved the accent. It was great. But for the most part, like stupid, terrible movies. Every clip they showed, I was like, that movie sucked. And you know what? It's like people with a big dick. It's like a crutch. You know what I mean? Like the chimp is our crutch. They're like we've got a big dick here, a chimp, and so we don't have to be educated or groom or read any kind of books because everybody's still going to like us because we have a big dick / a chimp.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel about chimps. They're a crutch. They're a crutch to bad.
They are a crutch. They're a crutch for creativity. Yeah, I'm just not someone that's like drawn to chimps.
Now that said, here's something that we are drawn to. Now I saw everyone said chimp. Ben brought it up actually. We were like, what are people talking about right now? And Ben said, I keep hearing about this show called Chimp Crazy. I said, no, chimps. No, absolutely no. I will not touch a chimp show. I have very few lines in my life. Okay. That is one of them.
Right.
For what I didn't even know until recently, but that's one of them.
I failed my pitch though. I didn't even hear that people were watching it. I just saw that it was coming to Max. They had put up a big thing. And where I had failed was I didn't say there's a chimp show with a lady with a big wig.
Well, that's what I was leading to is one thing we do like, because I didn't know this one. Yeah, Ben didn't mention this part, is that there's a housewives looking lady with a Kim Zolciak wig on the cover, sexily posing with the chimp, with everything being pink. I mean, when I saw the poster, I was like, oh, what's that? And then when I watched the show, I was immediately pulled into the show. I have to say the filmmaker dude who does this does a great job, because I remember watching Tiger King and thinking, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the colors of it wasn't just the story of the crazy guy. I mean, it was that, but it was just the colors and the way it was done and the way that they had all these twists and turns throughout the story, and it just got crazier and crazier. And I thought, he's not going to be able to do that again. And why would you want to? Why would you go from something like Tiger King and think, I need to make another wacky animal lover documentary? But he did it. I mean, to me, I think it's so good. I think it's just brilliantly done. The way that they do all these twists and turns, the characters, all the stuff that the characters reveal, the stuff that he had no way of knowing was going to happen during shooting that unfolds during the shooting. Right. It's just so good. I mean, it has me. I love the show.
I mean, that's why, I mean, like, again, like, I feel like if you just put a camera on someone who's like really into exotic animals and like, but also is really into having a shitty home for them, but they think it's a great home, you're going to get like a good documentary. I don't know if I love the show, to be honest. I think it's interesting. It's fascinating. It's not fair to compare it to Tiger King, but Tiger King to me felt like it was more about the human drama. Joe, was named Joe Exotic, and like all these crazy people in his world, and like how he had like his cult of personality that drew people in, and his, you know, he had this boyfriend, and he had like a rival with Carol, and then you have this other guy who's like this long blonde hair. There's a world of characters that are all scheming, and it was fascinating. And then this one is just like Tanya. You got Tanya, and you got what's her face, who doesn't want to be on camera. And that's basically it. And it's basically like this first episode to me was just like, so we got chimps. Peta doesn't want us to have the chimps. Peta's going to take away the chimps. So to me, it wasn't like the first hour was like, it was interesting because it was interesting to see how like they like, wow, it's like, I can't believe they're keeping these chimps in these conditions and everything. But look at this also strange relationship they have with the chimps. But in terms of like actual like twists and turns, to me, I was like, this was not very twisty and turny. They had chimps in shitty cages, and Peta was like, can't do that. And the government was like,
it ended with a good one. It ended with a good one. I don't know. I loved it. Okay, so let's start from the start. Shall we? Yeah. So we start in like a kid's bedroom. It's super weird. It's like a sci-fi movie or a kidnapping movie where people are kidnapped and then put into a child-looking room in the basement. That's what it looks like. That's where it looks like we're in. It's all pink. There's a couple of bunk beds, and then there's we see some stuffed chimps on a bed, I guess, and then a little baby chimp is cuddling, and you see the baby chimp and it's like, oh my god, you're cute, unless you're Ben, but you're sitting in your living room going, you're ugly.
No, I thought the baby chimp was cute. It was still in its cute era. It was still in its like acceptable to be on TV era. There, I mean, all these chimps are basically like child stars. Like that. This is the story of many hairy child stars who are cute for 5 years and then afterwards discarded into a cage in Missouri. So then we have Tanya, and she's like, monkey love is totally different than the way you actually love your child. If it's your natural born child, it's just it's natural because you actually gave birth to that kid. Like,
thanks for explaining what natural children are. Immediately I loved her because she's like, the monkeys are different from natural kids because your natural born kids are yours because they're natural from you because you have the kids, which makes them a natural kid because they came out of you. Fuck those kids, by the way. Those kids suck. Those kids are the most disgusting kind of kids, which is kind of where she leads to. She's like, but then you get a monkey and that bond's much deeper than a normal kid. Her poor kids. Do we get to meet her kids?
We never meet her kids. We never meet them. But she literally is like, the bond with the monkey is so much deeper than with like a child. Because a child learns to talk back to you and then suddenly stops loving you when he gets his first girlfriend and suddenly you are just discarded by the side of the road, but a monkey never stops loving you. It's a deeper relationship.
And we have to visually give it to this lady, Tanya. I mean, just her look. She's got this huge wig, this huge bleach blonde, curly plastic straw hair wig, these gigantic pop off of her face lips, huge fake eyelashes, a really Magda level spray tan. I mean, she's everything. I mean, I really do think this was just like, whoever this person is, I forget the name of the guy who directs Mike. I guess is his name, who directs the movies. I'm just going with Mike.
I forget.
It seems like a Mike, right?
Yeah, Mike.
And by the way, he's given me so much in my life, and I can't even remember his name. Sorry, Mike. But that guy, I think it's like all gay coded because Joe Exotic obviously was gay, and this isn't gay, but there's nothing more gay coded than this woman. You know what I mean?
She's very Jennifer Coolidge
for us.
Yeah. Like she's definitely like, I'm like, I cannot believe this person actually exists. Like that's what this is. I think that's what I was trying to say before. This one's like less about the twists and turns to me. This is just more like, look at this crazy lady. So she's talking and we're seeing footage of, a couple holding up a baby, like a lady's holding a baby over her head and Tanya's speaking and she says, human children are meant to grow up and build bonds with other people in society, but not chimpanzees. They just want to throw shit at you. And that is such a deep and meaningful experience.
Taking out to a baby chimp, you're their mother's everything. I mean, they really love their mothers. They don't just discard their mothers or give them ashtrays on Mother's Day, if even that. I got a peanut butter cracker for Mother's Day one time, and it's only because I said, what I get for Mother's Day, and they threw a peanut butter cracker at my head. Fuck those kids. But a chimp, I mean, their mother's everything to them, that's all they think about. And so when you're a chimp's mother, you become their mother. You're all they want. That's all. I mean, it's just so on the nose psychologically. It's like, my children hate me, and this chimp loves me, and he has to because I'm its whole world. Because you've kidnapped it. It's got fucking Stockholm syndrome. And listen, I think the same thing about dogs. I mean, Bueller loves me. He's obsessed with me. When I come in, he stares at me. When I leave, he stares at me. When I'm sitting here, he stares at me. When I walk across the room, he stares at me. You know why? Because I feed him. And without me, if I die, he's fucked, and he knows it. He literally knows nobody else in the world. You know what I mean? I understand. I get it, and I understand that it's crazy loving something like that because I've kidnapped him and I've given him Stockholm syndrome, and I'm totally fine with it. But that's how you are with these monkeys, and it gets even more disturbing when they talk about they're basically humans, right? These chimps. They're like, they're humans. They feel the same as us. They just don't talk as well. So we kidnap them and keep them behind bars for life.
You know what? I'm sorry. There's nothing like holding, loving, and being around a chimp. It's the best thing since peanut butter, which incidentally does not qualify as a good Mother's Day gift. I want to highlight that again. I can't explain it because it's like something that you just don't ever feel. Okay, it's so empowering. They're just like us. Well, especially Tonka, who's more like a truck, but like they're a lot like us.
Tonka is so much like us. And she does say Phil and Rill. It is very
Yeah.
Whitney from Salt Lake City. So we meet Tonka. We cut to Tonka. Tonka's in the cage putting sunglasses on, which is like so human like. And she's outside Tonka's cage and she's going, "Give me a kiss, Tonka, Tonka, give me a kiss. Good boy, Tonka, Tonka. Give me a kiss right now. Open mouth, double cheek, all kinds of kisses. Tonka knows them all."
Tonka and I just found each other, or more like Tonka was trapped in a cage, and I walked in the room, and had no other choice but to find me because I was the only one there he could look at. And Tonka loved me as much as I loved Tonka, and it was meant to be. It was just natural as two species that really are not really supposed to have that kind of relationship is, and more natural than having your own natural kids. Which, by the way, that's when they come out of your vagina.
It's as natural as your love for God. Whoa. I think that's learned, first of all.
Atheists are furious at this documentary.
Yeah, and I mean, just on technicality, not even to get into religion, I believe that your love in God is kind of a learned behavior. So she's like, yeah, it's like your love for God, and I do anything to protect that primate. Anything. Dun, dun, dun. So we know it's going to get ugly with Tanya. And
Right.
so immediately they're drawing their parallels with Joe Exotic. Like, it's going to be a crime documentary. And then we cut to helicopters whirring over the home and news clips saying the fight over chimpanzees should be over. But the chimpanzee lady now making national news. And then we see Tanya talking to the news camera being like, oh, you're going to have to bring sheriffs. They're going to have to bring everything they can. This is like trying to take peanut butter from a caveman.
Who was preparing a Mother's Day gift for a soon-to-be disappointed mother. So it's like I would give anything that I had to possession-wise for that child. I would give my life for, maybe not my wig. I'll keep the wig, but everything else I'll give up for that chimp.
And that's what I did. I gave up everything for Tonka. Like, oh my God, what happened? And then the title comes up, Chimp Crazy. Now, I was in love already. I was like, this is my kind of show. I need this to have 20 seasons because this is amazing.
And this is also an amazing shot because she's sitting in this pink bedroom with like bunk beds behind her. And she goes, I would. And that's what I did, to be honest. And then she stares at the camera and this little baby chimp crawls out on the top bunk bed out of nowhere. I was like, that was the most perfect shot. I'm not, was this, how did they do that? How did that work out so perfectly? Did they just
I think so much of the show, and that's what I really like about the show, because, you know, it's a documentary, but we're so used to doco series or whatever they're called, like doco dramas, that we get used to thinking, oh, this is a documentary. It's like Real Housewives. They're just documenting these lives. This is actually a film, you know, that things are just kind of naturally happening on the camera, and they're catching such really cool shit. I mean, they're really catching a lot of cool stuff. And that was just one little moment of it, which I don't think you can plan that. Like that little monkey just crawling so slowly on the top bunk, kind of making its way into the shot as she's just having a very serious shot straight to the camera.
It was a perfect shot, I have to say. So now we cut to Sarasota, Florida. Inevitably, we knew for some reason we just knew this documentary was going to take us to Sarasota, and we're at the home of Pam Rosaire, who, by the way, I don't understand Pam Rosaire's role in all this, but I loved her. I wanted more of her. So she and her husband and a chimp are watching a movie on the screen. They're watching 2001: Space Odyssey. That's the famous scene where in the beginning, where a chimp, like someone in a monkey suit, is like banging with one bone against another, like it's the invention of tools, and we hear the music going off, the also Sprox Zarathustra go like da 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 da, and this chimp is watching a fake chimp on TV, but thinks it's a real chimp and is losing its mind. And this Pam Rosaire, there's no reason Pam Rosaire is only watching this movie to fuck with her chimp. I'd like to point out, she's like, all right, everyone, let's watch the movie to make our little chimp go crazy again. He always thinks it's real. It's hilarious.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to watch chimp things with your chimp, right? It's like when you have a gay person in your house, you're like, let's put on a housewife show for Ronnie, you know, keep him busy, or like a show tune. Like when I was a kid, my mom would just throw on Little Orphan Annie, the movie or whatever. So yeah, you got to keep the chimp interested. But I love the chimp's audience. his audience abilities, because we see the chimps watching things throughout the show, and just watching how they react to things. It is very like us on a season finale night of the Housewives. They're just like moving back and forth in a diaper, which is me soon, but just like Christine, Drew, time, like banging shit on the ground, you know.
So Pam goes, well, my dad asked me what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and I said, I want to be the world's most famous chimpanzee trainer. So we'll put that on LinkedIn.
America, this is where we really need to like beat our children. You know what I mean? Like, no. You know, sometimes you just need to say no, and you need to bring spanking back. You need to say, read a book, get a job. You know what I mean? It's okay.
And the director, Eric, not Mike, Eric says, and how old were you? She was 7. So at 7, she both wanted to be a chimpanzee trainer, but also the most famous one.
Yeah. So then we cut to a circus with Pam, some video footage, and she's like, my ancestors are all circus people, so I couldn't just have one chimp, you know. You had to have at least 3 chimps, because then if you got 3 chimps, then you got an act. 1 chimp is a solo, 2 chimps is a duo, 3 chimps, you're in business, baby. And well, you know, it's her like doing her act with her chimps. I'm like, she's got it. Look at that. It does make a difference having 3.
Yeah, it's like a reverse cat lady. You know, if you got 1 cat, you got a cat. You got 2 cats, oh, you got 2 cats. You got 3 cats, you're a cat lady. But it goes in reverse with monkeys. With monkeys, when you get 3, it's you're an act. That's when you're most special of all.
So she's like, and let me tell you, chimps have a long life. All right, they got the same lifespan that we got. So I picked the right trade, because I'm still performing with my chimps. All right, we all fart a little bit more in the middle of numbers, but we're still doing them. Right? And then we cut to her doing shows with her chimps. But the shows are kind of sad, right? Because you know they're all on a chain. They're all on a big long chain, and they're kind of like doing a cartwheel. And she's like, oh, chimps can do anything that they want to do because they got our intelligence. Well, I don't know if you've watched the news or talked to random strangers out in public lately, but I don't know that I'd be bragging about that, you know?
Yeah. Have you watched the other people in your documentary? I don't know if intelligence is a word we should be throwing around so easily.
Literally turn on TLC and then tell me you want people, you know, making more.
Yeah, no, they're right. They're calculating. They watch every move you make. They learn to read people. They know what you say, every word you say, every breath you take, every word you make, every place you go, every chimp you stow away. They'll be watching you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Berlin. That's not Berlin. It sings. I don't know why that made me think of that.
Police. It's the police, babe.
The police. Well, they're going to be in this later, so we'll see them soon. So she's like, yeah, chimps are real smart. And then we see her loading her chimps into the car after the circus. And one of them is joking that it's like wanting to get a beer on top of the car. It's like, should I get the beer? Should I get the beer? Should I get the beer? Chimps have the personality like that creepy uncle who's always kidding, but then he's thrown in jail at some point for something terrible. And you're like, oh, I just thought he was funny. And it's like, no. And, you know, I hope that's not me because I'm an uncle. But I thought of that and I was like, oh, my God, am I the creepy uncle that eventually goes to jail for something? Sorry, I got sidetracked. I got sidetracked in my fear for my own future. I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about Pam endorsing chimps, and she goes, you know, they are 98.4% human DNA. So therefore, I mean, they're our closest living relative. They're my kids. They're always going to be my kids. And years ago, I had a baby chimp born 2 months premature, and premature baby chimps cannot digest formula, and he wasn't doing good. He was dying, but I just had my daughter Dallas, so I did what came natural. He's a baby that needs feeding. Feed it, you know.
Cut to the baby chimp at McDonald's. JK, cut to the baby chimp on her tit, okay, with Dallas. She's got the husband's like, oh, I'll come in one day, she's got Dallas on one boobie and the chimp on the other. And I said, whoa, what are you doing? And will you do it? Well, I got the Betamax. Warren.
And then it becomes like a National Enquirer story, which meant that her husband went and called the newspapers, but hey, my wife is breastfeeding a monkey. Want to write about it?
They're like, this is it. This is how we make it. Because back in the day, there wasn't a TikTok. You can't. There's not
Yeah.
going to be some video of you yelling at your kids hilariously that's going to make you a family name. You know what I mean? You had to like actually make an effort. I mean, back then, people really woke up in the morning like, get out the Betamax. I'm breastfeeding a monkey, and we're going to spread this around. We're going to put this on a mobile home tour until it gets somewhere. You know?
It's really true because she's like, next thing you know, it's in the Inquirer and then Star, and oh my God, like Baby Chimp saved by breastfeeding mom. I mean, I was living my dream. I was the most famous chimpanzee trainer, and I trained them from the teat.
And let's just point out, I mean, times change, you know, and she would be in jail if this if this came out today. If this came out that some lady had a monkey on her boob, they would be like, that is animal, abuse, and you are going to prison, ma'am. And I'm
Yes.
not sure whose side I am, whose side I'm on, like the past or the present, because she saved a monkey, I guess. But then the other part of me is like, was there no bottle that you could put the breast milk in? I just don't understand. I don't understand. It
She
has to be
saved the
your
monkey
booby.
so that we can have a long, flourishing life dressed like a little cowboy doing cartwheels on a chain.
I mean, that monkey would have gone to heaven without ever being dressed like Mae West as a fireman. And I not stepped in. But yeah, like you saved the monkey, but what about your nipple? I have a feeling your nipple looks
That's
like
my
a
concern.
pizza.
I'd be very concerned about that nip. So she's like, to me, they're my life. I mean, that's my life's love. They were my first love, and I wouldn't want to have my life without a chimp in it.
And by the way, as we see these chimps, I can see how people fall in love with these animals. They are just so fucking sweet. They are really, really sweet. And Dallas, who's her daughter, is like, and by the way, Dallas, I don't know, we haven't found out much about this storyline yet, these people yet. But Dallas is very like gypsy for anybody who knows that musical. I'm sorry, I'm so like old Queenie with it's my birthday. I'm reminiscing on everything that's passed. But it's very child star of that era, like the 50s or whatever. This is the one who was supposed to make it, Dallas, that Mama Rose put everything into. And she still kind of looks like she's on break from the circus. Like she's still kind of in her stage makeup with her stage hair. And she's wearing some pleather boots. And she's like, oh, he was just gentle. He was very kind. We're like brother and sister. So much that the instant a boy would like me, he would be mean to that boy, whip off his dick, put it down his throat, rip off one of his legs and beat him with it. I mean,
that's what brothers do.
Yeah. Can't imagine my life without him. It would have been very different. If you were going to serve me a summons without a chimp, you'd probably be able to do it. What kind of life would that be? All right.
So Eric Good is like, so if someone wants a chimp, where would you buy one in America? She's, well, for a long time it was Connie Casey. She has chimpanzees, but it's too bad because it's the end of a dynasty. She lives in Festus, Missouri, not to confuse with Fetus, Missouri. That S is really
Fester,
important.
Missouri. that's just a place in Missouri where older, balding, fat men go to live and just grow pale.
She doesn't want the attention.
Speaking of the creepy uncles, there's a whole town where creepy uncles are sent to. Fester, Missouri.
Don't talk to Connie Casey about Fester, Missouri. Bad things happened over there.
She's like, Connie Casey. And this is where we find out Connie Casey does not want attention. Connie Casey, you sell chimps. You sell circus chimps and used to go on TV trying to like make yourself famous with these. I get you don't want it now. I mean, as it goes on, we can see why Connie no longer wants attention. But we cut to Fetus, Missouri. Fester, Missouri.
Festivus, Missouri. And so Peter Lawfer, someone named Peter says that Missouri is basically one of the few states where you can do anything with animals. I did not know this. You can have like exotic animal auctions. You can do anything, any wild, crazy animal. It's there. Come to Missouri. Come for the butter cake. Stay for the exotic animals.
Yeah, stay for the giraffe adoption.
No,
so
yeah.
Yeah, it's like Connie Casey. She was doing this stuff big time, which was breeding chimpanzees at her enclave, the Missouri Primate Foundation. So he's like, back in 2010, I was one of the last journalists to talk to Connie. So Eric, whose name is not Michael or Chris, whatever I was calling him before, is like, yeah, I've been trying to talk to her. He's like, oh yeah, she's not going to talk to anybody. I'll tell you that. So Eric's like, yeah, I've been documenting exotic animal people and for a very long time, and they're already distrustful. But I made the Tiger King, and now no one will talk to me. No one trusts me in the animal community.
So, so he tries to go. He tries to go like show up at Connie Casey's. So he's like, for this. He drives up, and it's just all these really angry dogs just staring at him from like this gate, and he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to come back another time. So he tells us that he had to hire a proxy director to go undercover. And so he is with the proxy director. I forgot his name. What was his? I know his stage name which is Dr. Wasabi.
It's Dwayne, right? So he's like, we got a proxy director. So then we get this guy come in and he's like, I'm from the circus. Like, oh my God, of course you are.
Yeah, I guess if I had scrolled down one more line, I would have seen his name as Dwayne.
So we see the property, right? And it's a chain link gate opening up and it says Missouri Primate Foundation. And we see statues of chimps. Just kind of funny. And it's July 2021. And Dwayne is meeting Tanya, the lady with the big plastic crazy hair. And they start, it's, I guess, the first day of filming for them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, we just got in at 3:30 this morning. She's talking on the phone. And then we meet her. She's like, I'm Tanya. I'm a nurse. I'm from St. Louis, and I came down here to Missouri Primate Foundation to help Connie Casey preserve the chimpanzees that she held. Because Connie, hold on, everybody just quiet on set. Connie's a legacy. Can we have a moment and just bask in the glow that is Connie? Connie, silently burp like you do so we know you're I felt it. Did you guys feel like that? What a fucking legacy.
She has a legacy that is greater than anybody could ever imagine. She is a world-renowned chimp person, basically responsible for 3/4 of the captive-bred chimps that are here in the United States currently. If you ever look at a chimp in a cage and think, God, that chimp looks miserable, should be out in the jungle, just say, that was Connie. Connie did that. She's an icon.
Connie's the first person to look at a chimp and think, you know what that chimp really needs? Shadow of bars on its face.
You know what? Connie looks at a chimp. Some people see this as a wild animal that should be swinging from vines in a different continent, but she sees someone who could be dressed up like a little whore in a Old West bordello. God, she's a genius.
Connie sees that as somebody who could really entertain a bunch of children at a party until a year later when it gets murderous and tries to take down the neighborhood. So what a legacy. Good girl. Hey, we've got a lot of chimp statues. Where's the Connie statue? It's exhausted. That's where it is. It's under a blanket somewhere. Real tired.
Sorry, this is her Wheel of Fortune watching hour. So basically Connie's like minivan or something pulls up, and Tanya goes up to Connie to try to be like, hey, I want you to meet this guy that's doing this documentary. His name is Dr. Wasabi. He's a real reputable guy. He has an advanced degree. It's not Mr. Wasabi, it's Dr. Wasabi. I think you should talk to him.
Actually, I don't remember his name. Hey, you, come here. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Okay, I guess you know that. And I know that sounds rude. But guess what? I know fucking Connie. All right? Have some respect. He comes over. He's like, hi, I'm Dwayne Cunningham, completely a filmmaker, not tricking you at all. It's a pleasure and an honor to meet you. Yes, I am juggling. Yes, I fucking am. That's just how we do it in the business these days. We just thought people needed to hear your story. And while I ask you questions, I'm going to be going back and forth in the same foot on this unicycle.
Love your car, by the way. God, back in my day, we could probably fit about 45 of us in that thing. Okay.
Did you know that they can fit 40 people in a clown car, according to Alexa? But then they can only fit 25 in a clown car, according to Siri. Now, does that mean that Android is just generally more positive, or are they delusional? And Apple's like, no, you can only fit them safely. And if you want more, you have to buy more storage for clowns, and it's going to cost you 5 times the national average.
I think it's clear that Alexa is the Connie Casey of clown car captivity versus Siri, which is going for a more humane numerical count. Like you could, but we're not going to endorse it. We're going to say you can only keep 25 in there.
I know that because I was trying to show my friend how the Siri works. I was like, look, Alexa's so much better than Siri. So I was like doing a test, and that was the question. I was like, just ask anything. How many clowns can a clown car hold? And Alexa said 40 to 45. And I was like, Siri won't even answer because Siri's an idiot. And because normally Siri in the car goes, I'm sorry, I can't do that while you're driving. Like Siri literally won't do anything in the car. But she did answer it. And I was like, maybe they upgraded Siri. I don't know.
Let me tell you something. The most humane of all might just be Google, because I said how many clowns fit in the clown car. 14 and 21 clowns. Greg DeSanto of the International Clown Hall of Fame estimates that somewhere between 14 and 21 clowns and their props could fit into a car prepared in this manner, but only one clown if it's Gail. Hi, this is Padma Lakshmi. My new gig is reading Google results.
Why is it telling me a different thing? Okay.
Google?
How many clowns can fit in a car? Oh, I see. Because you were asking. Okay, now she's telling me how many clowns can fit in a car. The number of clowns that can fit in a car depends on the size of the car and how densely the clowns are packed. Listen, can I get a consistent fucking answer here?
How about you answer the question instead of trying to be elusive, Siri?
No, this is
depends on the car. Oh. Well, okay. How about? I really resent that answer. It depends on the size of the car. Well, no shit, Sherlock. A standard clown car. What's the average amount?
All right, so we go back.
I also want to point out. I want to point out something very important that I just learned. My cousin's wife, Mallory, has informed me that there is a hipster clown movement that's happening right now, and that this is like now the new thing. Like going to clown school is like a hip thing, and clown comedy is now a big deal. And she's like, I'm going to go to a clown show tonight, in fact. So like, this is like Dr. Wasabi is on trend.
Well, good luck to you. You know, I mean, you got to have a hobby. Go for it. I believe in you. I will say that I think that that's just big circus because for a long time, a decade ago, people were really they were taking circus classes, like where you learn to do the trapeze and stuff like that. Remember?
I hated the trapeze. I hated the trapeze.
People were always like, oh yeah, my new exercise is trapeze class. And I go, oh, okay. So I think big circus is just like putting this shit out there and tricking people to constantly keep people interested in circus economy.
I think so. I think this is definitely like Barnum and Bailey's attempt to get like right back into like relevancy. Which
okay, so back to the show. So sorry, I thought that sentence was over. I didn't mean to interrupt it.
It was over.
Which it won't be. Back to the circus. Back to the show. So Dwayne, Proxy director, is like, Connie, I'm Dwayne, and listen, it's a pleasure, it's an honor. You are a legacy. We just want people to hear your story, and we're going to get it out there in the court of public opinion. So I'm like, what has happened with Connie? Like, why is Connie hiding? Why is Connie so afraid? But Connie's like, fuck no. I talk to nobody. Here's who who's going to answer your questions. The hood of my minivan, bitch.
So then Dwayne tells us a little bit about himself and why he is suitable for this job. He says, well, I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus Clown College, class of 75. Jimmy Carter was our commencement speaker. It was great. And I got to work with their animals every day. And then I became involved in the animal industry for pretty much my entire life. And I've had a relationship with the federal government over exotic animals. So that's his way of saying he was thrown in jail.
He's been in jail. Yeah, we see his record pop up on the screen. It was a rough time, 1975. It was an oil crisis. But I'll tell you one thing. It was a good time to be packed into a clown car. We're the only people who got anywhere back then.
Oh, God, I was the toast of the town back in 75. A fresh young grad. I was everyone's living room, from Suzanne Summers to Joyce DeWitt. They all wanted me.
So when they called me and said, you want to be the point person on this thing, get in there, see what's going on. I mean, that's right up my alley, you know? And once these people knew my background, they're not skeptical of my presence at all. They say, "Who are you?" I say, "Honk honk," and squirt some water in their face through a flower on my lapel. Putty in the palm of my hands. These fuckers.
So now Dwayne is getting a tour of the chimps. Tanya's giving a tour, and there's like a chimp banging on a light and everything. And he's like, "Is this normal?" It's like, "Oh yeah, he's just displaying this because there's other males here. That's for him to show his dominance in his territory. I mean, if these bars weren't here, it'd rip your face off, probably your dick too. But I gotta love, they're just so sweet. Just love these chimps."
And this is one of those moments where I was shocked because you're expecting it to be like, "Oh my god, look how cute, like there's chimps everywhere," and it does look like prison. It does look like a big prison with bars everywhere, and the chimps are like, "Ah!" like they're going crazy because there's someone in there. It's like an insane asylum in there, and it does not look like, "Oh, how touchy-feely." It looks like, what the fuck is going on here? Right. And she's like, "Yeah, it's just acting like that because there's another male here." Well, it's like you never watched a Republican National Convention, am I right? Connie, that's for you, Con.
Hold on one second. Connie just bought a vowel. Okay.
God,
she loves playing along.
Yeah, Connie. Let me tell you something. Connie never spends money. The only time she ever spends money is for these chimps. The occasional vowel. That must be a hard puzzle. I believe in you, Con. We all believe in you. Leg C. You have an A? Give me the A. That's right. Legacy. You win, Con.
Connie's a little sour these days. She really did not want Ryan Seacrest to take over Pat's job. She strange. Her write-in candidate was Heather Locklear. Didn't even understand that one, but I support her.
Ryan Seacrest is the host of Wheel of Fortune.
He's taking
Are you
over.
Fucking kidding me? Oh, come on. Haven't we given Ryan Seacrest enough goddamn money?
I agree. I would have liked some fresh game show talent. By the way, we need a new crop of game show hosts. The old ones are all dying off. One just died last week.
Who?
So I forgot his name. What's his name? Something Parker? I'll look it up.
Well, he didn't leave much of a legacy. Unlike you, Con.
Peter Marshall. Oh, this poor guy. Peter Marshall died, and they put up a picture of Alex Trebek instead. Oh.
The lack of respect happening today, not only on the news, but this podcast.
He was the host of Hollywood Squares.
That's back or back in the day?
Definitely not. He's 90. He was 98.
Well, so is Charo. I still watch her ass on the Instagram. Do you ever watch her? She's my favorite. If anybody does not follow Charo, please do yourself a favor and consider it a gift from me. Go follow the official Charo on Instagram. What a fucking ray of light this woman is. I love her so fucking much. I can't even describe how much I love her. I'm like one of the chimps watching TV when she comes on my Instagram, because all she does, like her favorite thing is she'll be like, "Let me tell you what I'm going to teach you today. Open a watermelon. Watermelon is so healthy. Watermelon." And then she dances and opens a watermelon, and I watch it 20 times and cry. I'm like, "You're so talented. I love you, Charo." And she's like, "Watermelon, look at me. No wrinkles." I'm like, "Oh my God, this woman's amazing."
I once saw her walking on a sidewalk in suburban San Diego. I was like driving through a neighborhood. I was like, "Is that Charo walking on the sidewalk?" And it was Charo, because it's Charo. Like, it's like the hair and everything. It's like she dressed like Charo, and she had her little dog. And I was like, what is Charo doing? Charo doesn't seem like someone that would just be on a sidewalk, especially not in the suburbs. She's like in some penthouse somewhere, but she was right there on the sidewalk.
Charo's fucking amazing. Yeah, and she doesn't change a damn thing. She wears like an ice skating skirt and those really thick hose that are flesh toned but not see through. Like Taylor Swift wore in her concert. What are those called? Like ice, I don't know. Like I'm looking at everything as ice skating, but yeah, basically she's dressed like an ice skater, opening a watermelon in her backyard. God, I fucking love that woman. Okay, back to the show. So Dwayne gives us his background, and then we go to the large room with the pink cages everywhere, and the chimps going crazy. And then we see Connie is showing a video on her phone. She's showing a video to them to show us, I guess. And she's like, "Yeah, the grandkids playing in the hot tub with Kirby. Listen, I don't want to be on TV. Get me off the TV. Why are you putting me on the camera? Get me off the camera." Connie ain't playing around.
Yeah.
She's a diva.
No, she does not want to be on camera. So then Dwayne tells us, at that point, it seemed like Connie Casey was exhausted physically, exhausted mentally. like, there's nothing about Connie Casey that seems like she ever was not exhausted. I have to say, from every photo we've seen of her, this is this is a lady who, when they asked her when she was 7 what she wants to be when she grows up, she's like, I want to be the most famous exhausted person. That's what I want
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah. And I get it because I'm that kind of a person too. Like my ultimate goal is just to be successful enough to stay in bed all day. That's really all I want. Oh,
Yeah.
geez. I'm dropping everything off my
What
desk.
fell over?
I love sleeping. I love being in bed. And I'm like her too. She's like, get that fucking camera off me. I'm going to bed. Bye. Like, how is she not in a nightgown right now?
Yeah. So now we have Tanya getting eyelash extensions. She's like lying on a table. The extensions are going in, and she basically has this enormous monologue, which is like, well, she does really good work. This was, her stuff. This eyebrow person, eyelash person, her stuff looks natural instead of looking real crazy. I don't want to look crazy. Okay, the last thing I want to do right now is look crazy on television. Okay, can someone put some shit on my lips right now?
Dwayne points out, he's like, I was a little nervous to take this job, but once I kind of saw the way that Connie was talking, and then once I heard the way Tanya was talking, I realized that we were on it. It's a love story. And for a minute, you don't know if he means Connie and Tanya, because there is something between them that's like super deep too, or the monkeys. You're assuming it's the chimps. And then another thing we keep coming back to.
Wait, sorry, can I just say, how funny is it? A literal clown is hired to be a fake director. And like the moment he's assigned the role of fake director, he starts talking as if he is the director. He's like, yeah.
Yes.
The more I listen to that, this is a love story. I really want to capture this dynamic. Like, you're not the actual director, Dwayne. You're a clown.
But you know what?
The label Dr. Wasabi on your shirt.
Make it till you make it. That's what happens. You pretend you're a director long enough before you know it. You're like, guys, first of all, I need some more water. Second of all, or maybe it should have been first of all, can I get a better Lutz? I mean, what the fuck? So another thing we keep coming back to, is kind of a theme of this show, is Tanya and the Botox people, and wherever she's going to get her tans and her makeup and her lip injections and we always end up back there, and it's so funny. It's like where Tanya opens up and she can really just be Tanya, because they just keep the camera on her during all of her procedures, and so she can't go anywhere, and she's so comfortable in front of the camera. I think she thinks that they're not going to use any of this because it's like, oh, they're just sitting with me while I'm getting my lips done. They're not going to use this, surely.
Right.
But they use all of this footage.
Yeah. She's like every single like terrible angle on her. So she's lying on this thing, on this table. She goes, everybody compares me to Dolly. I don't know what they do. I'm like the Dolly Parton of chimps. Or I'm like the crazy monkey lady. But usually the Dolly Parton of chimps.
You don't know why they compare you to Dolly, because you've given yourself boobs as big as cars and a big gigantic, because you're dressing like Dolly every day. What do you think? You look like a tourist shop in Nashville. And listen, I'm all for it. I love it.
Who are the people calling her the Dolly Parton of chimps? Like what? Like who are the people? Like, and what is the circle that she's in where people are like, oh yeah, Connie, I mean Tanya, Dolly Parton of chimps? Who's saying this?
I don't know, but I feel like probably everybody. I probably feel like people in the Buckies are probably like, "Oh, it's a Dolly Parton of chimps." I mean, look at her.
Maybe it's the gay chimps. Like, oh my god, icon. She is the Dolly Parton of us.
All the gay chimps. So she's like, yeah, I owned a capuchin. Capuchin? Is that how you pronounce it, Ben?
I think it's capuchin. I think so.
I owned a capuchin monkey for about 20 years. I just love the capuchins, but I always wanted a chimp. Chimps are the big leagues. Yeah, capuchins. Capuchins are just like, oh, what the capuchin's a chickpea. Chimp is a head of cauliflower.
Yeah, chimp. A chimp you can. Yeah, no, perfect metaphor. A chimp.
I don't really know where that came from. Cauliflower is like the Dolly Parton vegetables.
It kind of is, actually. A chimp, a chimp is way better than capuchins. There are capuchins, but like, they're just like so much better than you, because you can shape them into being you. Like, have you ever seen a chimp with a giant wig and huge lips? That was me. I did that. I shaped it right into me.
Have you seen the Chimp White Lotus that came out? Well,
You ever seen a chimp fall off of a yacht? I did
These
that.
gay chimps, they're trying to kill me. I wrote that. I did that.
I did that.
But she's just she's so on the nose with her, like, yeah, I wanted chimps because you could shape them into being you.
This
Creepy.
is someone who was
Unlike your children, fucking goddamn children. Kids, God forbid you try and teach a kid to, smile with a half an orange in her mouth and make people laugh every once in a while.
I told my kid, hey, dress up like a 60-year-old woman at a boarding house in New York City and talk to a pig. And my daughter said, won't do it, Mom. A chimp does it every time.
Yeah, this is also another parallel with Joe Exotic, which I thought was interesting, is just the complete narcissism that goes into this, because his whole thing was Botox and bleach blonde and the glam of it all. And, there was like a certain obsession with his looks and the fame of it all. And that's kind of her thing too. They look at the animal, they both do the platitudes of like, oh, this is for love. And there's nothing like the love between a human and an animal. But then when it comes down to it, it's really kind of about their own narcissism,
Yes. And they're also like, probably, I'm assuming some sort of like abandonment issues where like they never got the love or the attention or anything. So it's like, ooh, I can shape this exotic animal into like what I want it to, because I never had any sort of like power or love like this in my life. So here someone who can't protest me and can't reject me.
Right, because they're in a cage. So,
but they can kill me.
You know what? I thought at one point I can afford one. My kids are grown. They haven't done shit for me. So, who needs an inheritance when you're them? You know what I mean? So let's try to find a baby chimp. And Connie Casey was offering chimp encounters, which, again, this is something I feel like is just you'd be jealous.
Encounters. So I made an appointment on chimpencounters.earthlink.net, and it was the most rewarding and most experience I ever had. I put it like, okay, if having your own natural gross babies, that's probably what, number 12 or so. This is like by far, like, what's even beyond number 1. This was like the chimp encounter. This just like, I didn't even need this wig after this. My hair naturally got big and curled because I was so excited.
Yeah, I was a chimp encounter. It was amazing. It changed my whole life. I mean, more than childbirth. Childbirth really only changed one thing. They didn't let me wear my eyelashes, so I looked crazy in every picture. Otherwise, fuck that kid. Am I right? But God, holding that chimp, that changed everything. I wanted to go back immediately. I wanted to pay another $300. It's like $300. Holy shit! You could have done drugs for a week.
You could have just gone to a zoo, also, by the way. And so she said, Connie lived a life that I would have loved to live, living in a giant, decrepit place in the middle of Missouri. That's what you call living. Festus.
She's my idol, and she needed help. So I just went to volunteer 1 day a week, and then it ended up 3 to 4 days, and it ended up 5 days, and I started putting eye drops in her milk, just waiting for her to pass. It's a slow game. It's a long game. Am I speaking out loud right now? Eyelashes, am I right?
And thank God I went to Connie's 5 years ago, or I never would have known. Like, that's the only time in my life I have ever been so happy. I'm 53 years old, definitely 53. And them 5 years was the best 5 years of my life. The eyebrow technician was just like, I have to hear the story every single time she comes in.
Well, we don't see the eyebrow eyelash technician for a while. Like, it takes another episode before we finally see him, and when we finally see him, he's like some hot bear guy. Like, he looks like he's an auto mechanic. He's just like, all right, I'm gonna move around your filler for a little bit, all right, honey? He's like, yeah, I'll just be here talking about chumps with one lip. All right.
All the men kind of look the same. Like Connie's husband, this med spa guy, and the guy who does the animal cremations. They're all, I'm like, is that the same guy? Does he just have 3 jobs?
Yeah. It all looks like my memories of the bowling alley, for sure. They're all bowling alley people. So then we cut to Tonka in a cage, banging on the wall, going crazy. And Tanya's like, Tonka, you crazy little guy. Come on, he's just playing around, guys. Tonka's like, I will murder you. Like if we knew Morse code, it would be Tonka being like, get me the fuck out of here before I murder all of you.
He doesn't have outdoor access because he's a sick chimp. Tonka, he had a massive stroke last night, so he doesn't climb or anything. And that's just the most active he is. And by the way, he's not a big chimp. He's just fat. He's a big fat chimp. Tonka's like, excuse you, I'm right here. Some sensitivity, please.
Don't mind Tonka. He's just a fatty 2x4. Couldn't get his big butt through. Why is Tonka so mad? Wow, Tonka's getting even more mad. Maybe stop fat shaming Tonka. Let him live. She's like, well, we've got 7 chimps, and each chimp is individualistic, okay, just like humans, except for my children. Basically, little globs of mayonnaise. It could have been on any sandwich. And let me tell you, a sandwich I'm not ordering. Am I right? Why can you order sandwiches but not children? How come I can get a sandwich made the way I want, but not my own spawn?
Let me tell you something. Of the 2 things that don't talk back when you put them in a cage, a sandwich is the one that I'm going to take. Because you know what? Children, put them in cages, they're not as calm as Tonka is right now. Sandwich is calm. What am I talking about? So Tanya's like, okay, let me give you a tour about our chimps that all have very basic names, except for Tonka. I don't know why Tonka's name is in the mix, but here's Connor. Connor's the Hallmark reading card chimp. Okay, he was born and bred in Connie's facility, so he never really lived anywhere else. We have Tammy, Carrie, Michaela, spelled like she's on, MTV Teen Mom, Mikayla, Candy, and Crystal. Tammy, Carrie, Michaela, Candy, Crystal, and Connor. The most basic names.
Yeah. Because it's hard to come up with. There's only one Tonka, you know what I mean? After that, you're just like, all right, we're just going to have 100 of these. We're just going to have to start naming them human names. Right? Can we get a John? Can we get a John or two?
It's actually funny. It's not that they're basic names, because on their own, they're perfectly fine names. It's just that somehow as a group, it's just like it's just like this very, I don't know how to describe it.
Well, it's not a family. It's not a family, right?
It just seems like a cast of a reality show,
It's maybe like a classroom, but it's not a family. Because in a family, there would be more similar names or names that kind of went together. But these are like Tammy, Michaela, Candy, Crystal. What are we going for here? What is this family's vibe?
It sounds like people auditioning for a girl group, right? It's like, okay, who's next? Tammy? Okay, come on in, Tammy.
So she's like, well, Tonka did a lot of movies because, Tonka's the Tonka. Tonka's no Crystal. You know what I mean? Tonka did a lot of movies. Sorry, Connor. Sorry, greeting card ape. Poor Connor's a little insecure. Hey, Connor, guess what? People are still sending each other all the times instead of e-greetings. Cards. Don't worry, you're still in fashion, Connor.
Yeah. Connor. He really still believes in legacy media. Although the only legacy around here, though, I think we all agree is Connie. Am I right?
Well, Tonka did a lot of movies like George of the Jungle, Babe, Pig in the City, not a greeting card. Sorry, Con. Yeah, he's pretty famous. And then she's standing up against Tonka's cage, and they're like leaning up against each other. I mean, they're so cute. I love Tonka. I can see why people fall in love with Tonka. He's like so cute and handsome.
It does seem like they have a bond. I mean, what's so interesting about this documentary is that really, again, these chimps should not be in these cages, in these conditions. This is just not humane. Which is, by the way, it's such a funny word when we talk about like how we treat it. Like this animal's not being treated right. It's not humane. It's funny to have it like human sort of being in the root of that word. But like at the same time, where it's so interesting is that like you do feel like her love is pure for this monkey. And you do feel like Tonka does feel a certain way for her. And so you're like, oh, you don't want to get in the way of that. But also this animal needs to have better conditions. It just does.
Well, one of the things I find super interesting about all this is watching it. They're in these cages that look like a prison. And watching them go all crazy in the cage, you're like, well, that's not good. But then that's how chimps are. And they can't just be walking around the humans because they're dangerous like that. And so if you think, okay, well, it's like a zoo, right? So they would be kind of in those cages in the zoo. So is that humane? because they're still zoos. But then there are people who say, no, zoos are not humane. And then there are people who are like, well, it's not. We're looking at it through a human lens where you're looking at that and thinking that looks like a prison, where to a chimp, it's just like their house that they can see through. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough knowledge to say what's inhumane or not. I mean, I know you wouldn't look at a dog and be like, oh my God, that dog doesn't get to have a job. I mean, that's inhumane. He just sits in the house all day. So I don't know. I'm not trying to lighten what it is, because you do see that it's inhumane, and like just the way that they can't move around freely and they're always in a cage. Like, they need to have somewhere that they can run around. But it's an interesting thing that the documentary is bringing up, because like you said, you can see that these people actually do love the animals. They're not just like,
they're not like just there to abuse them, and
right. They're not like outwardly abusing. Like, you could say their living conditions and stuff like that are abuse, but they don't seem like abusive monsters. They seem like loving people who this all kind of spun out of their control.
Right. And I think that's actually at a point later on, like the lawyer for Peta says, like, it just seems like this is someone who really likes monkeys, but doesn't really know how to take care of them. And so, and we do see, by the way, that like there is some sort of like outdoor-ish, there's like a big sort of space where it looks like the monkeys can climb around and jump around. They don't really highlight that on the documentary, which I think is fascinating. They really only show the monkeys in extreme confinement, which does not, that outdoor space, that caged and outdoor space, does not make it any better. But
well, it does actually. Yeah, I mean, it does.
Well, meaning that but it doesn't make the confinement of the cages any better. But yeah, I think that ultimately, yeah, there's a lot of, people. Zoos are actually a very fraught subject, because there are some people who really feel like, no, zoos are terrible, and there are some people who say they're actually bastions of conservation, and like that's a debate I don't know enough about to even really weigh in on. But what I will say is that I think a zoo, a proper zoo, like a good zoo, is going to be better than Connie's compound.
Yeah, Connie's fist
actually
is compound.
The best one was that sanctuary that they showed some aerial shots of. It was like the monkeys on like a little island. They have a big toy in the middle, and that looks like a dream for if you're going to be in captivity. That looks like the best way to be in captivity.
Yeah. Okay, so Tanya's like, yeah, they all, they
5 stars on Yelp for me.
Yeah, gets a good review from you on the Yelpy. So she's like, yeah, they gravitate towards me because they feel secure, and I'm just gonna go ahead and credit the eyelashes. They come around me, and they'll occasionally ask me to sing 9 to 5 or something. I said, stop.
I'm the second mom. Connie's the first mom, but like she's the kind of mom that just says, pass me the remote. Pat Sajak's coming on. Got my private time. So Tanya's like, I beg your, please, let's write a book. Let's get your legacy down. You have a legacy. Let's write it down, okay? But she's very closed. And slowly but surely, I found out a lot about Connie from the chimps. She got her first chimp in 1972. His name was Coco. He was wild caught from Africa. And then we see Connie in 2018, when she still had a nice relationship with the media, with talking about Coco and how she would sit in a circle with Coco, and he would eat little peanuts and raisins out of their mouths, etc. It was like very gentle.
And then she kept showing pictures. She'd be like, yeah, we'd have a raisin in her mouth, or a peanut, or a fingernail, something like that. And then they'd just take it. Coco would take it right out of our mouth with Coco's mouth. And then they cut to all these pictures of a dude like the dude like twisting his face, and then the monkey just it's like,
yeah, was that like
open mouthing him? I was like,
French
you're
kissing?
Making it like, this is disturbing. This is disturbing me, Connie. Okay, can we find other ways to love our monkeys? So then Tanya's like, well, Coco and Bridget, okay, because then they got Bridget. So then they had their first baby, Bo, and then they just started having babies all over the place. And, as chimps get a little older, they become a little harder to handle, which is a little different than children. Children get over, and you say, get the fuck out of this trailer if you're going to keep eating peanut butter crackers, you little bitch. Right? Never liked you anyway. Would it have killed you to take one ballet class? But chimps are different because they get older. They get a little harder to handle. So people would contact Connie, and they'd say, oh, hey, I've got this chimp. This is a nice way of saying it, because sometimes they'd call and be like, get this fucking thing off of me. It's different calls, but generally they just ask Connie to come pick them up.
Yeah, chimps, and they get a little older, they're not as cute, they're harder to handle. And so you just call up someone and say, can you take care of this? Can you take this off my hands? Same thing happened to Wesley from Mr. Belvedere, I hear. Anyway, so Connie's like, well, little did I know that years later I'd have a house full of chimps. And so then we see a chimp running around in a onesie around a house. And then we see this lady named Angela Scott, and she's like, I first started working with Connie in 2001. It was very surreal. And like immediately I was in love. And I just knew that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to work there. Connie was breeding and selling chimps as pets. And every year they would keep one. And that's what they would use for commercials and movies. God, what a rush it was. Was this the lady who was with the blonde hair?
Yeah. And then they would just keep one. And their family just kept growing. I know of at least 4 generations, if not 5 generations, of Connie's chimps in Hollywood. Legacies. So then she talks about her Connie marrying Mike Casey, and Mike Casey was a total stage mom husband who's just like, oh, you think you got something stage mom here? Let's make it an industry. So he came in really ready to agent these kids, dadager these kids, and he came up with the idea to do all the Hollywood stuff and the Chimp Party Chimps. Chimp Party Chimp era. He ushered in the Chimp Party Chimp era.
So we see lots of news clips, and we see there's a girl named Brittany Staub who had a 12th birthday party with a chimp. I just love the idea of like Brittany Staub and thinking like, was this someone related to Danielle Staub? Did Danielle Staub once attend a birthday party where there was a chimp? Was she traumatized by the chimp? Like, that chimp, it put its hand on my hair. So,
pay attention, police.
So Angela's talking about how
it was never even Danielle Staub's. She just always remembers that 12th birthday party.
I know.
She's like, I always wanted to be Brittany. Brittany with the chimp in her party. What did I have in my party? Nothing. I didn't have a party. No.
This is how Danielle chose her new name, Danielle Staub. Because what was I don't even remember what her old name was, but was it like
Beverly?
Stephanie?
Like
Beverly,
yeah.
So Angela's talking about how they made a lot of money with it. And because of those parties, which is what allowed them to build the big enclosures. And then we see Connie saying that she was hoping that this could be like a sanctuary for chimps, etc. And so we see just archival footage of them building the area that was the big outdoor area that chimps could run around and swing on things and stuff.
So then the next scene is Tanya at the foundation, and she's going through cards. She's like, these are Hallmark cards or American Greetings cards that Connor did. Connor, look at you, cards. Look how impressed everybody. Hey, Connor, only 95% of the people said, what's a card? The other 5% super impressed, Con.
Now, here's the fun thing, okay? If you get a Hallmark card, you just look on the back like this. Oh, this is American Greetings. Hold on. So we're just going to rummage through this. Here's a good one. Okay, look at the back of this one. Oh, God, another fucking American Greetings. Okay, hold on 1 second. I know on camera. Okay,
look at the back of this card. It says, fuck you. Fuck you. Hey, it's Happy Mother's Day. Fuck you. Wish I never had you. Love, Tanya. Oh, that was the one Connor, remember that's the one we wrote to my daughter. I couldn't find her address. All right, just keep going through the box.
Another fucking American Greetings one. Okay, all right. Here's one. Okay, here's one that says, dear daughter, thanks so much for the little plate of peanut butter you gave me for Mother's Day. It really, really meant a lot to me. By the way, I did everything for you, and what did you give me in return? Okay, another American Greetings. I really love this brand.
Here it is. If you find this American Greeting, you turn it over and it says Chimp Party Chimp, Festus, Missouri. So you know it's one of our greeting cards, all right? And look at this one. It's a chimp as a stripper, Connor, and it says, this is the only male stripper I could afford. Happy birthday, which is real funny, Con, because they even charge $300 an hour for you, Connor, and you got the personality of a pencil eraser. Am I right?
Look, he's jumping out of the cake. It's like, well, actually, this was a present, but
I remember it being a cake. It's different how things work in your memory, isn't it? God.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The cake was Brittany. That was Brittany Staub's birthday party of the cake. This was the present. It's clear now. It's
just crazy because I just always remembered it that way. And then last year on my birthday, I tried to eat a present. I thought, where'd that come from? It's all coming full circle now.
You know, this is kind of funny, but I have been called the Dolly of greeting cards. This is really It's amazing to be a dolly in 2 different industries.
So she's like, well, snack wise, they love licorice, they love marshmallows, and they love drinks. They love sugary drinks. I was like, okay, so you know what? Can we not inundate the chimps with the processed food? You know what I
I
mean?
know. Oh, I
Are we
wonder.
suffering enough from this crap? Like, you're even doing it with the chimps. Like, we're already raising a bunch of monsters, and I think it's because of the shit that they're feeding them in the schools and stuff, in the McDonald's, etc. You know, and now we're doing this to the kids.
Like, I wonder how Tonka became a sick chimp. That's actually not a big chimp, just a very fat chimp. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, wonder how Tonka's having strokes.
I know.
Jeez. Go to the produce section. Listen, next time you're in the grocery store, shop on the outer aisles, guys, okay? Do I need to sign you up for Netflix food documentaries? Okay. So Tanya's talking about the facility, how they used to have 42 chimps in this place, which is crazy. But then things started going bad. Dun, 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 dun. And we cut to Kirby the chimp, and a voiceover is like, I thought James Dean or Leonardo DiCaprio just entered the room. Women falling all over trying to get to Kirby. James Dean riding a motorcycle. Leonardo DiCaprio dating teenagers. It's crazy.
So, and then we see footage of like this like a kid's party, and there's like this chimp that like sort of grabs a toddler's foot like slightly, well, aggressively, but like, just like it's being playful, but it's like doesn't know its own strength. And I was like, so then we see Mike Casey, and he's like, he's telling a reporter like, I don't think Kirby meant any harm with it. Like, we never had any problem with Kirby. He's a great little chimp, no problems whatsoever. But as we're looking at Mike, it's clear like his nose is fucked up. Like it looks like it's a Voldemort situation, and something's been put onto his face. You're like, something is not right here with Mike.
Mike comes on screen, and you go, "Where's your fucking nose?"
It's wild.
Like, literally, you're like, what the hell? And Mike's like, monkeys, what are you gonna do? I mean, that's who they are. At the end of the day, you can't get mad at them. That's how they are. So then it cuts to Angela, the blonde lady, and she's like, I heard a story about a chimp named Bo. Mike went into Bo's cage, and in the blink of an eye, Bo ran up, bit his nose off, completely off his face. Connie actually had to go in there and pick the nose up and take it. So a couple years later, Bo had died, and I asked how, and they said of natural causes. But he was young, and I mean, this is the first really dark turn that the story takes, where this guy is just like standing up for the chimps, even though he had lost his nose to the chimps, and they put the nose back on the guy. Like, no,
he died of natural causes.
Now this is. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say natural causes, like because a chimp naturally gutted him, bit off his genitalia and his eyeballs in his face.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, they're saying the chimp died of natural causes, which the chimp died.
I thought it was that
Bo.
Bo. Okay, never mind. That makes much more sense. I was like,
the guy who died the guy who got his nose taken off is this guy, Mike Casey.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mixed up the names. I was like, wow, what a cover up.
Yeah. No, Bo was out of control, so I guess they put Bo down or whatever, but they won't just say that, right? So then Peter, the journalist, is telling us he's seen a lot as his years as a journalist, disasters, wars, murders, but nothing prepared me for walking into Connie Casey's compound and seeing a ghastly prison. And it was like a puppy mill, and it was terrible. So now we move into the kind of dark stuff of all of this.
Yeah. And basically, so Angela tells us that they turned Chimp Party into a nonprofit, and
try and save that reputation, because after the stuff that started going sour, they were like, okay, how do we change this? We're going to change this into a chimp sanctuary. That's right. It's a chimp sanctuary. And you know what brings them peace? Occasionally doing a child's birthday party.
Yeah. Brittany Staub loves coming to the sanctuary. So, but the Angel's like, I didn't like this. So I called Peta. So now we go over.
Yeah, she's like, Peta. I love these. Because she volunteered there all the time, and she was talking to these monkeys. Like, she'd sit there and like have these relationships basically with these monkeys, and they were in jail. And she would tell them every day, like, you're not going to be here anymore one day. And so I called Peta. Da-na-na-na-na.
So then we go over to Jared Goodman, who's the general counsel of PETA. He sort of has like a Pete
Enter
Buttigieg vibe, you know?
enter Jared Goodman. Oh my God, this fucking guy. He's like Dockers. He is very Pete Buttigieg. He's very Dockers, and you know
Dry.
his ass will be like, "Hi there, I'm a different kind of HOA. We're a different kind. We don't believe in torturing you. I mean, what do we care? I mean, get your lawn. I'm sorry. Did you get our note? Did you get our note that we left on your car? Get your lawn taken care of before we have to do it for you. We will do it. It's not going to be cheap, but we're happy to help you, neighbor."
Yeah, he is. To me, he's like Pete Buttigieg only because he's like very dry. He's dry and sort of looks like him. But his whole thing, his fatal flaw is that he is very condescending, and which is funny because he's actually seems to be in the right in this story, but he's kind of like the villain, which is it's kind of fucked up. So
he's kind of the villain, but I have to say I'm really surprised that they made Peta so likable in the story, because I feel like every time we see Peta in pop culture, it's in some horrible light. You know, it's like just going so far because they go so far to get their point across or whatever. But it's never like, look at a great thing that Peta did. I feel like it's always something terrible the way that they show Peta. And this one, they're kind of killing it with this guy, Jared Goodman, because he's like such a smart ass, and he's also completely in control. He's not crazy at all. Like you imagine, I imagine Peta people, just the way they're portrayed, to be kind of off the wall and kooky and like really extreme. And he's not at all. He's actually very reasonable, and just like everyone around me is an
unflappable.
Idiot, you know,
he's very unflappable.
Yes.
And so, which is funny because he's really, in this case, like he's really standing up for, or the organization is like doing the right thing by these chimps. But because we're sort of like the documentary seems to be really from the POV of Tanya, it sort of puts him in the role of villain, even though he's really, honestly, like in the right here. So he's just talking about PETA and everything. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Alan Cummings, which I was not expecting. And he's like, PETA's got very good, very potent and very eye-catching campaigns. And of course, showing people that activism brings results. Like any great successful organization, they're very polarizing, like murder. But if your job is to get people's attention, to make changes about the issues that you feel need to be changed, by necessity, you're going to piss people off. Like with
murder. So who's a traitor? So he is a huge part of this movie, which I was surprised. I had no idea either. Yeah. So he is involved with PETA, and he talks about how in 1996 he did a film called Buddy, and it had chimps. And so he became friends with Tonka because Tonka was the star chimp, and he fell in love with Tonka, basically. And he said, in Scotland, we have a word for it called cootie. If an animal or a person is cootie, it means they're kind of, they kind of come to you like that, their personality as well as their physicality. Kind of, that's cootie. That's cootie. And Tonka was cootie. So basically, it's like when an animal is in love with you. It's like a flirty type of thing. And Tonka was very in love with him. And every time he came on the set, Tonka would be so excited to see him. He would just run and jump into his arms, and they fell in love.
To me, the real story here was that when they showed clips of this movie, it's like, yes, there was Tonka, but hello, there was also Renee Russo. Where is she in this documentary? She was like, no comment. No comment. I had a fraught relationship with Tonka. I don't want to discuss it. Can we get Renee Russo's thoughts on Buddy?
Renee Russo's at home watching this like, oh, great. Well, Tonka gets a second shot. Good for Tonka.
I know. All right. By the way, who cast this movie? I was like, okay, we're going to do a movie. Okay, what we want a chimp, Renee Russo. I don't know. Can we get a gay guy in there? Maybe Alan Cumming. Sure. Done. Greenlit. Go. Shoot it.
So he's like, and then after Tonka, I just figured I heard that he retired to Palm Springs. He's like, that's what I was told. And every time I would go to Palm Springs, because, Palm Springs for gay guys and old people. And then every time I would go there, I'd see the gays, I'd see the olds, and I'd look around for Tonka. Like, where's Tonka? Which is funny. And he never bumped into Tonka.
It's also a good reminder that actors sometimes are not the brightest people. Well, I thought they put Tonka in a blazing hot desert environment and that he'd be walking the streets of Palm Springs.
So
No.
then he found out that he'd done a campaign with PETA, and they told him that they found a place in Missouri where chimps are being kept in very poor, terrible conditions. And one of those chimps was Tonka. And they showed a picture of Tonka, and he was in the cage and he was looking very sad. And so he teamed up with PETA to, save Tonka or to help Tonka.
Yeah. So then we go back to Angela, the whistleblower, who's also in this documentary wearing big black stockings, and or like are they like leg warmers or tights or something like that? She's wearing them, and she's like, "Well, I knew that Peter was going to go after Connie and her chimps, so I felt like this is an opportunity to do what I've always wanted to do, which was go undercover in my own cool chick lit movie." So PETA gave me these glasses that I had a camera in them, and they just said, "Get as much footage as you can." So in my mind, I kept telling myself, "You're betraying someone you love, but you gotta go. But you know what's going to happen after this goes public." So she basically goes back to Connie wearing spy glasses, and I would have loved to have seen an image because this is like they probably were like enormous, and on top of that, like looking at her footage, I can only imagine how crazy she looked because her footage is so shaky and it's constantly going like left and right and up and down. Like I can only imagine how like nervous she was in this situation that she'd be caught. That she was like her head is just going in all different directions while people are talking to her. Like, Angela, are you okay?
Angela, why are you wearing a mustache?
Angela, why do you keep moving that flower in your lapel closer to my mouth?
Angela, why are you carrying a bush to hide behind? So weird. I'm not me.
Angela,
I'm a bush with a mustache. What are you talking about?
why do you keep moving your head in circles? No, it's just yoga, just doing some yoga stretches.
So Jared is like, well, and then we found out that chimpanzees were being held in prisons, throwing poop at each other. They had nothing in there. It was barren, and it was frankly unlawful. So in 2017, we decided to proceed with a lawsuit alleging that these conditions in which the chimpanzees were held constituted a violation of the Endangered Species Act. And we're supposed to hate him, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, get him a better place to stay.
Yeah.
I'm on your side. Can't believe this whole thing is shocking to me.
Yeah, and Alan Cummings is like, look, it wasn't like we want to take the chimps away. We just said like, just improve their conditions. So Tanya goes, well, that's their motif, which is like not even close to the right. That's their motif. Uh, and I could tell you verbatim how they handle a case. And every case is cookie cutter. That's my terminology. Okay, you know what else is my terminology? Motif. So they use the same forms.
I came up with cookie cutter. Came up with that.
That's
Before I
my
came
motif.
up with cookie cutters, you should have seen cookies. They were literally the shape of anything. It was just like you just throw something at a wall, and that's the splat. You see the splat? That's what shape cookies used to be in. But not. I came up with cookie cutters, changed everything.
Some would say it's their motive, but I think it's actually their motif. And so they just want you to run out of money and get your animals from you. And then, so then I started working at Connie's approximately 6 months after Peta filed that lawsuit. And we see now, Tanya is like cleaning up or doing her version of cleaning up the place.
Right. So Tanya's doing the whole like they're trying to take our theater. Let's have a show, like to raise money or whatever to do it. She's going to take her money and she's going to fix every problem that was on this PETA lawsuit. The problem is the main issue on the lawsuit is that these monkeys are being held in terrible conditions in these big cages. And I guess my main question at this point in the show is why? Why are you keeping them? You don't need the chimps for anything. You're not using them for business. They're unusable business wise. Now it's kind of like this old repository of old chimps who are just sitting there with nothing to do day in and day out, leading no kind of a life. So what's the point of keeping them all? Why wouldn't they want them to go to a sanctuary?
Right. Because they have a warped relationship. They think that they're not just like, oh, these are just chimps that we've saved. These are like their kids. Because Tanya literally says right here, she's like, well, Connie was very anxious to spend all this money to keep her babies. I said, don't worry about it. They're your kids. How can they take your kids? I mean, this is America. The judicial system will protect us because we haven't done anything wrong. The judicial system always protects kids. In fact, everyone knows the judicial system protects kids first in America.
Yeah, well, kids in America protected. I think everybody would agree.
Right, so guess what? I started fixing things up. So she was, Connie used to get donated old produce, just like crap from Walmart, but now I buy the crap from Walmart. They get fresh veggies, sugar snap peas, zucchini squash, Pringles, Jolly Ranchers, Quick. They love Quick. Strawberry and chocolate is their favorite. Fresh shit like that.
Well, actually, this lawsuit actually got them feeding them healthy, which I think is funny. It's like, actually, PETA's kind of doing a good thing, which are getting you guys to do actual healthy things. Like maybe this works,
But
It's
then,
like threaten people, and then suddenly they're getting sugar snap peas instead of instead of chocolate milk.
yeah, but then at the same time, like it's like not that much longer that we then see her like taking some sort of like Reese's peanut butter like whipped cream and just like just filling it into one of the monkeys' mouths. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how long this lasted.
Well, at this part, I was happy for Tanya because I'm like, okay, look, she's making an effort.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
she can
agree. I was
save
like,
these
oh,
old monkeys
cool.
after all, And then it cuts to Jared, and he's like, well, Tanya Haddix would regularly post improvements that they were making to the facility on her Facebook page. Things like putting up a new hammock. Cute. Cute Tanya. I was like, oh, geez, Jared's a bitch, So at this part, then I was like, hey, I liked Peta for a second. Now Jared's being a little bitch.
I know. I was like,
And
look,
so
she painted it green. She painted the floor green.
Yeah. I started becoming on her side. And she's like, well, if I had started guesstimating how much I'd spent on this, I would say it's about 9 chimps, which is $500,000. It's about 500. And then it cuts to Jared and he goes, they spent nothing even approaching the amount of money that she said she spent. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, because it is kind of funny because they're like, okay, we need these chimps to live in a better environment. So one of those cages, she like painted it like a green hillside with like stick figures like playing in the sunshine. And I was like, well, that's cute sort of mural, I guess. I don't think it really helps anything for the chimp. The chimp is still in like a small space.
Yeah. And so she goes off about Peta, and she's like, well, Peta never came out to see the improvements. They never saw the quality of life with this chimp. They didn't see the new costumes. I mean, for a whole week, these chimps were doing Jailhouse Rock. You think that was easy to choreograph? It wasn't. Did they ever see it? They did not. I friended Jared on Facebook. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So she's like, the thing is, the chimps is they're going to be your friend for life, especially Tonka. You know who's not your friend for life? Literally any daughter you may ever have. Okay, Tonka was 38 years old when he was my best friend. And them chimps just suck you in. They just suck you in so quick. I mean, sometimes they just actually grab you by your ears and pull you into them. And you go, Tonka, no, stop pulling me in. And you got to take some BBC and poke them a little bit. But God, I love them.
And Jared's like, so eventually Tanya just said, listen, I said to Connie, sign him over to me. I'll take the grunt of the lawsuit. Okay. You don't want to deal with this stress. I'll deal with it. So then Jared's like, there's no apparent reason for Tanya to have taken ownership except to get the heat off of Connie. Well, that's just not how that's going to work, is it? I was like, oh man, I would not want to be on Jared's bad side. That's for sure. I would just give him the monkeys. I mean, if you want me to do anything, literally just sick Jared on me. I'll be like, take whatever you want. Seriously, you want me to exercise every day? Threaten me with Jared's like judgment. I'll do it.
I wonder if indeed this was the case where Peta was like, look, we don't want you to lose your chimpanzees, but we want you to improve their conditions. Does Peta offer guidance onto like, what you should do, what improvements need to be made? Here's some recommendations.
Yeah, they gave the list of all the things that were wrong. So that's why she's trying to work from the list of everything that's wrong to like fix everything on that list. But he's like, I mean, kind of the main thing is living conditions. So unless you're going to change like the whole setup that you have for these, like it's not going to work, It's not painting. No one said, you know what these chimps need? Murals.
Well, I thought that was my recommendation. So now she's with the cages and she's like, okay, so I'm going to try to clean this cage. So I need to lock him out of the cage, but I'm going to lock this door, but I got to lock that door also because he's strong. And oh, well, he just escaped. Well, just chimps will do what chimps will do.
And this is another moment where, because it's just getting you to feel warm again. Like, oh, look at her, like putting all this work in to keep the monkey, to keep the chimps. But then, like, to see the maximum security of, like, oh my God, well, it has to get into that one. So I need to lead it into that one. Because if it gets into those, never do it. You're fucked if these things get out, It's like, this is kind of scary.
Yeah, it's really scary.
This is scary. So then we move to Carrie. Look at Carrie. That's the one who escaped right here on the highway outside Festus. And then we see news clips love this guy. This is totally me as a chimp. So they're like, well, after Tanya, or Jared's telling us, well, after Tanya became the legal owner of the chimps, there were issues still arising because she's not qualified to care for chimps. She does not have formal training. She's simply someone that likes chimpanzees.
And then we see Tanya in the pink chimp cage room, and she's like, okay, everyone, okay, here's the link. Okay, here is a hack. Okay, this is for everyone. Okay, pay attention. I have a rule of thumb. I never walk away from a cage unless I got a lock on it. Because period, end of story. Because you know what? It'd be so easy to get called away and then the locks be off and there's no safeties on the doors. And then you have loose chimps. So if you don't want to have loose chimps, lock the cage. It's that simple.
It's my motif.
It's my motif. Lock. Okay, here's a way to remember to lock the cage. If you walk away and you haven't locked it, go back and lock it. That way it's always locked. Okay, that's all you have to do.
So then we see news footage of chimps escaping. And it was all due to, guess what, locks. Told you so. Told you so, past. I told you. God, I wish they'd had me in the past. I'd have told them. Locks.
Jared's like, remarkably, Tanya Haddix's response that Peta might have sent someone there to unlock the cages. That's how delusional she is. Tanya's deadline to have all these improvements completed came and went. She never formally presented any of the changes that she made to the Festus facility. It simply didn't happen. So we filed several motions to transfer all 7 chimpanzees to an accredited sanctuary. So he's basically she lost 2 chimps over the course of this case. So we're like, okay, time to move them to a sanctuary.
And one of them, it's not here, but one of them was this chimp who didn't they? Is this where the scene was where they showed the chimp that got out and he got out of the car? Oh no, this is later. This is the chimp from episode 2 I'm thinking of, where they showed the chimp in traffic slapping people's butts. And they were like, "That's hilarious." Okay, so that's in episode 2. So then Alan Cummings like, this lady had her chance and she blew it. Right. So now we're at the courthouse. And she's stressing out, she's been up all night with the attorney and she's just doing the court talk outside. We're up all night. They worked all hours. We put motions in this morning. Best case scenario, they can't take my chimps. Worst case scenario, they take my chimps. Worst case scenario, they take my chimps and give me my daughter back.
So now 2 hours later, Peta basically wins, and Jared is saying like, well, the judge found Tanya Haddix in civil contempt and ultimately ordering that all 7 of the chimpanzees be transferred to accredited sanctuaries. And she's like, I love the chimps more than anything. I mean, more than anything. I mean, daughter who? Am I right? I mean, guess who's not getting peanut butter as a Mother's Day gift? Me from the chimps. So more than my own kids, more than anything. Okay, I'm literally telling you this on camera. I love the chimps more than my kids.
Yeah, she literally says that. She's like, I love them more than my kids, I mean, one kid threw a peanut butter cracker in my head. The chimps throw poop in my head, but at least it's something they put some effort into. You know what I mean? They made that. They made it. So, yeah, I feel real bad. I mean, like this, you're feeling for her. I'm feeling for her. And she's like, I'm not giving up till the fat lady sings. Oh, God, there he is. There's that little fucker now. She sees Jared on the other side of the steps talking to reporters. And he's like, well, we are going to present the Marshal Service and they will make a safe transfer of the monkeys. And she's like, that little fucker, fucking Jared, motherfucker.
So they're gonna confiscate the chimps and everything, and like Tanya and Connie are not allowed to be on the property, and there's be no cameras allowed or anything like that. So Tanya's talking about it.
We have this real sad scene of her prepping the chimps, and they're gonna give them the chimps, And she goes to get them their favorite thing. She's like, "Fuck snap peas." I got them Happy Meals because that's what they really like. They just want some Happy Meals, and we're just going to spend as much time with them as we can. And so they do this whole thing, feeding the chimps the Happy Meals in jail. And then
may I say something about the state of Happy Meals in America? Seeing those Happy Meal boxes, these kids in America are really being deprived. I feel like when we were kids, Happy Meal boxes had all sorts of drawings on them and mazes and puzzles, and you could do all sorts of cool things on them. And now they're just red boxes with a McDonald's logo on them. What's happened to these poor Happy Meals?
Now they're just one giant QR code. They're like, scan this if you want a game.
It's true. It's not fair.
Actually, I went to McDonald's a couple times last week. Let me tell you what they're out of. Hello Kitty boxes. Whatever is happening, or those little kids are loving the Hello Kitty toys because they're out at every McDonald's. I was on a fries rampage all week last week, and I can't get the Hello Kitty stuff. So
like goodbye kitty, huh?
Yeah. So goodbye kitty. No more kitty. Abandoned kitty. Abandonment kitty.
I was like, I don't have chimps anymore. Let me get some kitties. Couldn't find them at any McDonald's.
So the movie crew hooks up hidden cameras all over the place so they can, because they're not allowed to be on the property, but they want to see what's going on. So they've got hidden cameras everywhere, and we see Connie depressed as the guys show up to take the monkeys, and she's like just depressed as hell. And we don't get to see Connie a lot, so it's like, well, let's watch Connie walk from a window to an easy chair and sigh. You know, it's a sad moment.
She pulls out
as she sighs, it just sounds like this: legacy.
She just sighs like, why did I never put a TV in here? God, I gotta go back into the main house to watch Pat.
Yeah. So then they have to dart the chimps, which sucks, like give them medicine. So they put them all out, and then they start carrying them out. And Angela has no regrets. They ask her, do you have regrets, Angela? She's like, I wish I'd done it sooner. That's all. Now they're going to be happy. And I'm with her because we do see footage of the sanctuary lots as this is going on. And it does look like heaven. Right.
It looks like
so nice.
Club Med for monkeys.
So it's like I feel bad for Tanya and kind of Connie, even though we don't know her that well. But I kind of feel for Tanya because I've really grown to like her over this hour. But it does seem like the end. Like they're giving up. They're giving up. They're doing what they were told by the court. They're giving up all the chimps. We see the chimps leaving. Tanya's depressed, but we think she's going to make it. And then it cuts to Tanya all dressed up, like she's all gussied up, and she's walking into a casino, and she looks like she's just won, which is really weird. Right. It's like that movie with Ocean's 12, Julia Roberts and all the guys, where it's like real fancy, and they're walking through the casino all dressed up. And that's like, wow, Tanya's like got a really good attitude about this.
Yeah.
As she walks through the casino and all the nickel machines, she goes, this is my realm.
And we hear Jared says, the rescue went smoothly and Tanya Haddox didn't show up, but there was one major problem. There was a chimpanzee missing. I'm like, wait, did you bring the chimp to the casino? You see the chimp like running a roulette table. Okay, no more bets.
And then I started dying laughing. I was like, she kidnapped the chimp.
That was shocking. That was really shocking. And she's like, you know, once I had chimps, there was no way I could do without one. And I'll do anything and everything to keep them kids. Not the real kids, of course. They're trash. I've got to take every chance I've got because you know what? I might get lucky.
And that's how episode 1 ended. I was dying. I was like a chimp watching it. I was like, oh. I was cheering. I was going crazy. I just did not see that coming. I thought, how are they going to make this 4 parts? You know, it seems like the whole thing is done, but they did.
It was a good twist, but I was also like, there's no way that she could hide or take away a chimp. Like, I don't know how they could even do that. I was like, I this is wild.
Yeah. So, but they did it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, wild first episode. Thanks everyone for being here. So much fun talking about the show, and we have a full week of recaps. So you never know what's going to pop up next. So everyone, stick around, and we'll have new episodes coming up soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.